What's up guys, welcome back to another video. So today we have the tier list of November. It's been a while since I uploaded a tier list video, so we're going to include 3 months in this one before my previous one. So we're going to include 6 new champions. We have Titania, Quicksilver, Spot, iDoom, Galan, and Spider-Man Supreme. And also I made some changes to a couple of characters. And we also have the Ant-Man rework, which is pretty nice because he wasn't that great, but now he's awesome. So yeah, let's start off with the new champions now. So first one we have is Quicksilver. So Quicksilver gets a 4 in Alliance War. It's nice that he doesn't trigger buffs. He like destroys those fights pretty quick. But I don't give him a 5 just because with his interactions with like the 13 hit combo with nodes and characters, I don't think he deserves a 5. He gets a 4 in Alliance Crystal because he's got a lot of debuffs. He gets those fights done really quickly. He doesn't trigger buff, so I think 4 is pretty nice for him. 4 in Act Content, exactly the same reason because I give it for him in Alliance War, just because with those interactions with the nodes and the champions, I don't think he deserves a 5, but it's really nice that he doesn't trigger buffs, and he can do that much damage really quickly. He gets a 5 though in Variants because he's an Avenger. He gets 5 in Labyrinth and Abyss. I mean, he's got that indefinite slow. He's got a lot of big red numbers, so he deserves a 5, I believe, in this category. And then we have Incursions. I give him a 4 just because he doesn't trigger those buffs, and it's really nice for some champions, and nodes do not have buffs. He's got a lot of debuffs, especially with that node. I think it's called Tide of Combat. He's got a lot of non-damaging debuffs, so with this one, he is ridiculous, because every time they expire, he gets a Fury, and he can get like 50 Furies. So I think he deserves a 4 there. And then we have my favorite one, we have Spot. So Spot gets 4 in AW attack. I haven't seen any videos for Spot, but I think his utility with the block proficiency and just his like rotation is perfect for those health pools, like the Alliance War and BG's health pools, because they just die. If you just pop a specialty with some ruptures, it's really nice. He also has that crazy utility with the special one. He can get a 20-second buff immunity on himself, which can help you for like Ebony Moth or Dr. Doom, and even certain nodes like the EMP modification, where you don't get buffs for 20 seconds, and if you don't get buffs, you don't get shocked. So it's pretty nice. Then I gave him 4 in Alliance Quest because he's got his own debuffs to heal himself. Really nice. He doesn't have immunities though, that's why I don't give him a 5. And also I don't give him a 5 in Act Content because he loves immunities. I think that what keeps him a little bit down, it's that he has no immunities whatsoever. But buff immunity is really nice. His rotation is very easy. Untouchable is really helpful. And he gets a 5 in Variants as well, like Quicksilver. For Labyrinth and Abyss, I gave him a 4. I think his damage is pretty nice, but it's definitely not a 5. But yeah, it's pretty easy to ramp it up. And he's got that health pool to just block all day with the block proficiency. And then I give him a 4 in Incursions. Did he get a 4? Yeah, I give him a 4 in Incursions because that utility, that unique utility, no, that's his models. This is 4. So that unique utility with the Untouchable and the buff immunity can really help you in Incursions. But I haven't tested it myself. Hopefully when I get him, I will see, and then maybe I revisit those scores. But I think in 4.10 overall is pretty nice for Spot so far. Then we have Titania. So Titania gets a 3 in Alliance for attack. She doesn't trigger buffs, which is really nice, but I don't like her damage. She hits like a little bit weak for me. And then she gets a 3 in Alliance Quest. She doesn't have immunities. She just cannot get buffs, which is okay. And she just triggers a lot of debuffs, which is why I give her a 3. 3 in Act Content, because yeah, her rotation can be really tricky in some scenarios, because you ideally want to go for the SP3 and just spam heavies in the corner, and that definitely can mess you up with some nodes or champions. So I give her a 3, 4 in Variants, and then I give her a 3 in Labyrinth and Abyss. It's much easier to get the SP3 in those types of content, but I don't think her damage is really much higher than a 3. And same thing for Incursions. Having no buffs, like having no way to trigger buffs is really nice, but again, her damage is a little bit lacking for me. So yeah, that is it for the 3 new champions, the Science new champions. So now I believe we have iDoom. Yeah, we have iDoom. So where is he? Infamous Armament. So this might be too much. but I feel like he's good. So he gets 4 in Alliance for attack. He's really good for those mutants, like amazing. The power drain is ridiculous. Then they have exactly the health you want them to have in Alliance War, and where they just die from a special 2. You don't even need to go for the SP3 unless it's like a boss node and stuff like that. I gave him 4 in Alliance Quest because he's got 2 of those immunities. He's got some debuffs going. He's got a cowardice, it's really nice. And he's actually sustainable. He's got some good block efficiency, and the armor is really, really nice. Might be too much, but we might revisit that. For act content and variants, I just give him a 5 because I feel like he deserves it. Again, it might be too much, but it's I do, man. He's got some pretty impressive stuff, to be honest. For Labyrinth and Abyss, I gave him a 4, not a 5. His damage is pretty good. It's not for a 5 though. And for Incursions, 4 again. He's got those double immunities, the armor up, the power drain, the special lock. So I feel like it's pretty nice. He's got a 4.5, which is really good. And now this is ridiculous. We got Galan, guys. So Galan might be too much, but I don't think it's too much. So he gets 5 in Alliance War. He's got like his own paths, like 1, 2, 3 paths. I think they have those power drains. He's like ridiculously good with those power drains nodes because he's immune to it. And even if he's not immune to it, just one detonation just kills everyone. In Alliance Quest, I gave him a 4. He's got a small regen, but he doesn't really have immunities, damaging immunities, except the power drain, as far as I'm aware. So that's why I gave him a 4. 5 in Act Content, 5 in Variants, of course. 4 in Labyrinth and Abyss, just because his damage is really, really good for those like low health pool fights, because then you gotta rebuild those buffs and do your medium attacks, and it takes a little bit of time if it's like like 5 million health pool in like Abyss and stuff like that. So I gave him a 4 there, and 5 in Incursions. He's got really good sustainability with those physical resist, the energy resist, a lot of buffs, so stuff like buff cornucopia, and his detonation can just destroy, especially with the buff cornucopia. If you trigger a lot more buffs, it's gonna be a lot quicker. He's got that passive unstoppable as well, and he's also really nice to use for some cosmic champions like Hercules to just make them a herald. So it's really nice. He gets a 4.75, guys. That is insane. And then we have the last new champion, Spider-Man Supreme. So he gets a 3 in Alliance or attack. I don't think he's like, he does have too much damage. If you don't have 5 out of 5 MD, he's not really too strong. Just give him a 3 because he's got that phase and could be interesting. He gets a 3 in Alliance Quest. He doesn't have immunities. He's not really sustainable. He's got that miss only. He doesn't have a lot of debuffs. He just has a lot of buffs. So that's why I gave him 3, because he places those buffs on the opponent. And you might need that. For Act Content, I gave him a 4. For Act Content, he could be nice if you can ramp him up. His mechanic where he can't miss is really nice, because if you don't take the hit, you always have it up. You can just trigger it again. And if you get hit, if you were to get hit, he will just go on cooldown, but you're not gonna get hit. So it's really a nice piece of utility. He gets a 5 in Variants because he's a Mystic. And then he gets a 3 in Labyrinth and Abyss. His damage is good, but it's not that great for Labyrinth and Abyss, I would say. And a 3 in Incursions. But overall, he gets a pretty good score. 3.6 is not too bad. So yeah, that is going to do it for the 6 new champions of the previous 3 months. And now let's go for the changes and Ant-Man. Okay, so first off, let's get for the rework. We have Ant-Man. He gets a 4 in Alliance or attack because he cannot trigger buffs. He's got 2 immunities. I think he's got poison and shock, which is really, really nice. Especially that shock immunity is really good. He's got pretty good damage. He's got that glancing if you were to get hit from that special one. Could save you. He gets a 4 in Alliance Quest because he's got a lot of debuffs. He's sustainable with a glancing. He can heal from his own glancing. 2 immunities again. He gets 4 in Act Content and 4 in Variants. Just because, again, 2 immunities, very sustainable with that glancing, and pretty good damage, to be honest. And then he gets 3 in Alliance, or sorry, 3 in Labyrinth and Abyss. His damage is okay, but not too great for there. And 3 in Incursions. So he gets a 3.8, which is not too bad. And now let's get into the changes I made. So I lowered Black Cat's stats a bit in Act. I think in Act she had a 5 and a 5 in Variant. So I just turned it down to 4 in both. I thought that was way too much because she doesn't have immunities. She just has a lot of crazy damage and the ability to just fail abilities, which is really nice, but not for a 5. Then I made Kingpin the best skill champion. I just gave him a 5 in Alliance War. For some reason, I had 3 in for him, but it's been 3 months, so I changed it to 5 because he's literally the ban this season that's gonna about to start. So he is one of the best in Alliance War. So yeah, and then I lowered Shang-Chi a little bit, and he's just below Kingpin with Nick Fury. So Shang-Chi had a 5 in Abyss. Where is it? Shang-Chi had a 5 in Abyss and Labyrinth, and I just lowered it to 4. His damage is really good, but not too great for that because you need the ramp up, and there's a damage cap. And then I also changed Red Magneto. So Red Magneto had a 4 in Alliance War, I think, and now I gave him a 5 because he's one of the best for sure. There's a lot of metal champs, especially for paths like 1, 2, 3, where there's a lot of robots there. And then I lowered his Alliance War score from 4 to 3. I think 4 is way too much, but yeah, just lowered to 3. And then I made the biggest change. Hercules is now equal with Kitty Pryde. I just made his Alliance quest from 4 to 5, and he's got 5 in everything, so he's just a god, basically. And yeah, that is pretty much it for the changes, man. But yeah, you're not gonna see Ant-Man in this. For some reason, it didn't change. You're gonna see him very down there, but his score is 3.8 in this. Sorry, this is Anti-Venom. 3.8 for him, and this is there. But yeah, man, take a look at the top 10. We got pretty good champions right there. Kitty Pryde with Hercules, number 1 with a 5. Ghost, CGR, Galan, Doctor Doom, same score. Claire is down below. Human Torch, Apocalypse, Magneto, Professor X, Mega Sentinel, Kingpin, Quake, I-Bomb, and Hulkbuster. Yeah, pretty good. Maybe Hulkbuster is way up there, but I'll check his score maybe the next month. But he's pretty underrated, to be honest. But yeah, guys, there's gonna be a link in the description below for the tier list, the ranking system, and the tier list without scissors right there for you guys to check it out. And let me know what you think about this tier list. Do you agree with the 6 new champions, the Ant-Man, and the other changes I made? And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.